So MAGA scored a massive victory in their little minds. Was it cheaper eggs? No. Was it a living wage? No. Was it health care for all? No. Was it our children being safer in school? No. By God, they got Trump to step up and take action and cause Cracker Barrel to change the logo back. And they flex at this. This is a victory in their world. These are the type of people that we're up against. Someone would say, well, Brando, how is this news? Well, I think it's always important that we keep our eye on the ball as to what kind of people it is we're up against. We're up against people who listens to Jesse Waters say this, and they think it's a win. Take a look.
If we had just put our foot down years ago, think about what we could have saved. Aunt Jemima, the Indian lady in the Land O'Lakes butter, the Redskins, the Cleveland Indians. True. I could go on for days. Look what they took from us, Emily. Never again. Never again. And I'm trying to think about all the things that we should have done like this years ago. If we had put our foot down in the 80s, we'd still be smoking on planes. Think about the great things we could still be doing if we had just said no, a hard no.
And see, folks, in MAGA's world, those are the important issues to them. The culture wars are important. They've always loved fighting them because it gives them some sense of purpose. They feel as though they're owning the libs. That's what this is all about. They don't care if their life actually ever gets any better. Just as long as they can flex and think that they've made a liberal mad and they've owned them, then they'll be happy. If you go back to the election, leading up to the election, I never heard them talk more about eggs than they did then. It was all about cheaper eggs, and we heard that if we would elect Donald Trump, they would all get cheaper eggs. And I remember on the night of the election when Trump won, they were all jumping up and down, oh, here's the cheaper eggs. We're going to have them now. Well, they don't have them. They don't have a cheaper grocery bill. They don't have a living wage. They don't have health care. They don't have anything that can make their lives any better. But they have moments like this where they can flex and say, oh, boy, yeah, man, Trump stepped up. And he made Cracker Barrel change the logo back, and they'll flex. And the rest of us are sitting back looking at them for the idiots that they truly are, going, you didn't get anything that you thought you were going to get. Oh, and by the way, you thought you were going to get the Epstein files. You thought there was this list. And you thought on that list was every Democrat and every celebrity that you ever hated. And you thought what was going to happen was that list was going to be released and all those Democrats was going to be brought down. Again, they didn't care anything about the victims. They didn't care anything about the suffering and pain that Maxwell and Epstein caused to the victims. They didn't care about any of that. All they wanted to see was those Democrats get owned. And then that didn't happen. They got told there was no list. They got told it was a Democratic hoax. They got told to shut up and stop talking about it. And these are the idiots that's out there saying, hey, look, here's phase 1. And then, hey, shut up. There is no phase 2. There's never going to be a phase 2. You all just stay over here and stay focused on Cracker Barrel and stay focused on smoking on an airplane, because if you'd have just put your foot down on that one, you could still smoke on an airplane. And they will flex at that. And they will feel as though they have owned you and me, and their lives will continue to be miserable. Now, all Donald Trump has to do is sit back like he always does and run this country in the ground. MAGA and MAGA politicians just loves to sit and shit talk America and say that everything about America is bad and somehow they're going to fix it. What's funny to me is that Donald Trump is the president. He's got the Supreme Court in his back pocket. He's got the Senate. He's got the House. But yet, all these problems still exist. And their lives aren't getting any better when, really, if you think about it, in their world, shouldn't it be? Shouldn't they have everything they ever wanted? Shouldn't they just be living in a land flowing with milk and honey? They're not. Because all of Donald Trump's promises were empty. The only promises that he intended on keeping was fixing it so good so no one could vote again. The only promises that he intended on keeping was putting the National Guard on our streets and creating as much fear and paranoia as he possibly could. What the guy's trying to do is beat all of us into submission to where we'll just stop talking about it, to where we will become numb to all of this. And we sit back and we watch children lose their lives in school, lose their lives in church, lose their lives in places where they're supposed to be safe. And we try to talk about those issues. We try to talk about those hard issues. And MAGA doesn't want to because they're too worried about a logo on a restaurant that was nothing more than just bastardizing the South. It's actually fitting that they would get all bent out of shape over Cracker Barrel, because what Cracker Barrel did was it came along and it gave everybody just enough of the stereotypical South that it could get away with it. It's cheap knockoffs of everything that is the South. And now MAGA's sitting in there flexing that, by God, we got them to change it back. We got a victory. And it's fitting because not only did Cracker Barrel bastardize the South, but so has MAGA. And so they're actually a match made in heaven. That's exactly the two that would fit together. And I'm not at all shocked that Cracker Barrel caved on this one. That doesn't surprise me at all because they realized, we're going to lose our demographics, so let's get back to them. And once Trump barked, they ran with it. And then his followers sits back and thinks they got some kind of victory when really all they got was distracted by everything going on, and their lives are not any better. We try to talk about the issues at hand. We try to talk about the things that are important. We try to talk about the things that could make people's lives better. I do believe that we live in potentially, I don't think we are the greatest country on earth by a long shot, but I believe we have the potential to be. I believe we live in a world where we could make this the best for everyone involved, and everyone could go on living their lives. Everyone could worship whoever they wanted to worship and vote for whoever they wanted to vote for and be aligned with whoever they want to be aligned with. We could all live here peacefully amongst ourselves, but we're never going to as long as we have Donald Trump, because he realizes that the more hysteria he creates and the more division he creates, then the longer he and his kind can stay in power. And all he has to do is just throw a bone at his base for them to latch on to. He never has to fulfill any promise, and he knows it. J.D. Vance and all of them realizes, hey, we don't ever have to fulfill any promises. We don't actually have to do anything. All we have to do is just throw these people a bone, and they will latch on to it, and they will think they've won something, and then we can just continue to laugh all the way to the bank. And that's what's happening. Donald Trump and his family are getting richer every day, while his supporters continue to be poor and continue to struggle and continue to try to find a way to blame it on Democrats if they can't get ahead in the world. But if they'd have just came over to a voice of reason and listened to what some of the rest of us was saying, we could have all talked about the issues at hand, and we could have all talked about how to fix them and do better and move this country forward. But we can't, because we've got a group of toddlers who are so easily manipulated. They're so gullible and so easily manipulated, but they're excited to vote. And they can't wait to vote so they can own the libs. So we have a lot of work to do to stay focused and to understand what it is that we're up against. The reason why I talk about these things when they happen is because those are the type of people who we are up against. We have got our work cut out for us because we're over here trying to talk about things that are serious, and they're over there in their fake fictional land where they think they're winning something. They're not. Okay? They're not winning anything. Donald Trump said they would get tired of winning. Well, even if they do get tired of winning, it'll just be in their own fictional world that doesn't actually do anything for them or their families. And meanwhile, while they're sitting over here fighting these fake fights and getting these fake victories, we're over here paying the price in the real world. And that's why more reasonable people have got to come together and stick together and put our differences aside and understand that it's going to be up to us to make real change and make real progress. And besides, a restaurant changing its logo one way or the other that's not the be-all, end-all. It never was. These type of moments are just put there to distract. They were never the important issues that we should have been talking about. But in MAGA's world, it is. Or is it smoking on an airplane? I forgot.